wrench. Hello. Gotta move all the yuck out of the way. Hey, welcome back to another fun-filled episode of Wrenching with Rob. So if you don't see behind me, which I'm pretty sure you do, we're back on the 87 YJ. It's been a long time since we've addressed this one, but Mustang's out of the way, and quite frankly, I'm too scared to go out work on my deuce and a half right now, because if anybody that knows me knows that I am deathly afraid of wasps and hornets and all those things that kill you on sight if they see you, or at least that's what's running through whatever head I have left. So we're back on this thing, and if you remember anything about my previous episodes with this thing, remember that the gray thing and the black thing were not together. So obviously they are back together. I spared you all those boring details of the up, down, up, down, up, down, sideways, blah, 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 that would have bored everybody to tears. And it's kind of fun attempting to put the body back down on the frame if you've ever done it before, because it's like when you take them apart, they magically like shift in different places, so they never want to go back exactly the way it came apart. And also, stupid cord is in my way. If anybody recalls or remembers back that long ago, the body wasn't really attached to the frame correctly in the first place. I don't remember if I said anything about that, but I'm saying it now because the previous owner had put a body lift kit thing in it, and when they did so, they took out all the original factory rubber mounts, so the body was setting down on the frame with just the lift blocks, which are solid. So this thing, if it already wasn't rough to ride in, I'm sure it was extremely rough. Not to mention the holes in the frame have, or the original body mounts have these it's a large hole, fits whatever. Anyway, it was very, very loose. I could go into some detail on it, but y'all probably don't really care. It wasn't done correctly, so I went back and put it back together the right way and fought the hell out of it. And but I saved you all that because it's pretty boring. I will talk about it a little bit, and I know that most people are probably bored to tears with me talking about how I'm doing all this stuff, but some of you might find this interesting, or maybe if you're doing the same type of a thing down the road, you might want to check it out. So we'll do a little walk around, and as the title says, we're going to do a first start kind of. As you can see, again, there's quite a bit of stuff hooked up here that wasn't probably hooked up the last time you seen. Well, last time you saw it, the body was up in the air or off on the trailer, or frame was in pieces. I've kind of put some of this stuff together to try and mitigate it, so we can actually run it for a while. I don't have any exhaust or anything hooked up like that, so I don't know how stupid loud it's going to be. But I did hook the old radiator up there to try and keep it a little bit cooler so we don't burn it up. But when I say first start, first run, whatever kind of, it's because I figured to save you guys from turning it off and watching something different and saying this is boring as all get out, I got some gas into the carburetor because I wasn't sure if I'd hooked up the new fuel lines right. In other words, the return and the supply, and if anybody knows me, that Murphy's Law and I, we work hand in hand. And if you have a 50-50 chance of hooking something up right or wrong, Rob will always get it wrong. In other words, I got a 90% chance of getting it wrong. And of course, I did. Got the supply and the return hooked up backwards. So in other words, there was no gas going through the old pumping thing on there. And it's one of those mechanical types that has to do the when the motor's turning over, instead of the electronic style that when you flip the switch you probably would have known right away that it wasn't pumping correctly. So I did the other fun thing of trying to make sure that I hooked it up right. So I hooked up the old up to it, and you know, tried to pull some gas from the tank manually with the old lungs here, and quickly determined that it was backwards. So hooked it up, swapped them around, and then hooked it up, and found out rather quickly that I had it right, because anybody that's done the old siphon trick and got a mouthful of gas knows that it's really fun. Really fun. Tastes great too. No, not really. So we got the gas hole hooked up. I've actually put a little bit in. Well, let me get you out. We'll do a little walk around. So pardon the noise. The tripod is probably going to be noisy. So this particular YJ with the old 4.2, in case anybody doesn't know, it even says 4.2 on it. That's the predecessor to the 4.0, so don't get confused that the 4.2 had more litra ability. No, the 4.0 by far, or at least in my opinion, is a much better design and engine or whatever. Must be because they used that one for many moons. So anyway, this whole YJ thing is a the after, or whatever you want to call it, the next best thing to the CJ. So in '87, the designers in their infinite wisdom decided to incorporate a computer assisted carburetor. That's back before the real advent of fuel injection, at least for Chrysler or AMC or whatever you want to call whoever built this thing at the time. So the previous owner was cool enough to actually swap out all that jazz for a Weber carburetor, but all the other happiness is still there. So there's a lot of hosey things and stuff like that, but I think we got it hooked up right for the most part. So getting back to what I've done is I've got fuel up to the fuel filter, and this is one of them cool ones that I learned from old Thunderhead 289. You want to check out, that guy knows everything about carburation devices. I've learned a lot from watching him, even though at one time I thought I had a clue. This guy's got several clues. Anyway, this fuel filter has a return line in it, so once you get a little bit too much pressure, it just returns it back to the tank, kind of like a fuel injection thing does. So, man, I'm rambling. Anyway, we got that hooked up. This is our fuel going into the carburation device here, and then this is the overflow. So if something sticks, needle valves or whatever, which carburetors like to do, it'll just flow out of this hose, and I still got to figure out where to go with that thing. Probably should go to the return, but I used it for something else. I took my old my squeezy bottle, if you can see way back over there on the bench, that green like Mountain Dew looking bottle. That's probably because that's what it was. It's got a little top on it, and I squirted some fuel down this thing to fill up the bowl. Learned that from Musty One. Fill the bowl up, and then maybe it'll run long enough to start the fuel pump to do its thing. So we got gas in the bowl. I've already hooked up the brain box here. It looks an awful lot like a Ford blue, that little blue. Some of them are black, some of them are blue. I think Jeep, Chrysler, whatever, borrowed a lot of Ford stuff back in the day. And we've kind of sort of got this nice flexible hose on the power steering. I don't know if there's any power steering. Nope. That would be a no. Should probably not run that for very long because we don't want to burn it all to hell. Put a new one of these connecty shaft things in there because the U-joints here on this end were like that, and it's not supposed to do that. And I know it's a Jeep, it's probably never going to track straight or be sloppy, but if there's something I can fix, like this nice thing here, and the other one wasn't telescoping through here either. Anyway, I'm going to try and fix that stuff. So I think we talked about one of the previous episodes that we put all new brake lines and some other fancy rubbers down here, rubber lines. So now that the body's back on it, we actually hooked up this, and then I took the proportioner slash brake indicator thingy apart, or at least I tried, and of course Murphy said you were not going to do that without trouble, and yeah, I broke it. So I ordered a new one off the old eBay. Looks like it's a little drippy there. Maybe we should check that. And it's in. So bled the brakes. Again, people know how to bleed brakes. They don't want to watch me do it. We got an energy device thing in here, and I don't have the alternating device hooked up because this one's got some type of what do you call it, or air conditioning system on it that I think it was installed by the dealer. Here, we'll walk around and look. It's not in the dash, it's under the dash here, and consequently the it doesn't have a standard hookup style pump bracket system on it. It's kind of weird. So in other words, it's got to have a belt. You have to have the AC pump spinning in order to have the alternator work. So you can't just take the air conditioner belt off if your air conditioner decides, and usually does, that it wants to you know, explode or something. So we're just going to pretend that's all hooked up right, because I don't have the right belt for it, and every time I try to order a belt it always seems to come up with something crazy. So we're just going to leave all that apparatus look cool, I guess. Hooked up the battery, you know, the energy device here, and I didn't have any sparks or smoke, so I'm happy about that. The rest of the wires, all this blah blah down here, I think we can just leave that. So got the radiator brand new and should really make it go a lot faster, or run cooler anyway. I got that thing hooked up because if it does run properly or somewhat, I want to let it run, but I don't have the capping thing for it, so I don't know what's going to happen there. I put the air cleaner on it so when it makes fire I'll have to rip it off in a hurry and try to put out the fire. But yeah, somebody comment on that and tell me that that's probably not a good idea. So back to what I say about the first start, kind of. Well, I squirted a little gas down in it just to see if it would go vroom, and it did. It went vroom, and then I said, well, it's really loud. Let's hook up all the rest of the stuff. So, because it didn't go vroom very well. It kind of went plah, plah, plah. If anybody knows how that goes, that's what it sounded like. Oh yeah, and this is my second person brake bleeding thing here. We'll take that apart. Since I don't have two people here to assist me, this guy here, or these two guys here, helped me bleed the brakes. So the two boards push the pedal down while I crawl underneath it and let the air out. And we kind of have a clutch, but we don't have the thing you move. I think it's down here. Yep, there it is. It's kind of a mess. It's got a lot of body dust on it. See, there's some of that left still. So anyway, it's sort of kind of coming along. We'll walk back here. I bet that's bright. So we were talking about the body mounts and how it wasn't done correctly, or at least very well. These back here, if you can see this guy and this guy, they weren't even in it when I got it. I think they had replaced all this fancy bumper bracket thing, because this is one of those northern vehicles, and it started out life, well, obviously in the north, and they use anti-snow and ice up there, otherwise known as salt, and it doesn't get along well with frames and metal things. So there was a lot of found the tripod. There was a lot of fixing and stuff going on in here, so they just didn't drill the holes for those, so we fixed that. And then underneath here, whoop, that's probably kind of fast, where the light is. Sorry about the creaky groany. Let's get the light. We have some adjusting to do right here, but you'll see the factory mount in there, and then the actual bolt, and then the lift kit thing. This one here got modified by somebody, I don't know who it was, but this one here, I get it right. Let me move you a little bit so you can see that a little bit better. All right, so this one, that one's in there all pretty. We haven't tightened any of this stuff down because I want to put the front clip on there. I don't know if you can see that one way up there, but there's the front one. So all of these are in there now. There was quite a few of them that were not when we started off this project. So, and then here's that frame piece we put in. That was all angry on the bottom. And then we actually put the Jeep transfer case pan in there. That wasn't in there. I think I made a video on that before. So anyway, let's get you guys set up in the stand, and we'll enough of this talky crap. We'll get on it and see if it makes fire. So let's see, where do you want to be where you can see the most carnage? We'll bring you back in a minute. Okay, so hopefully this goes better than the green Jeep when we tried to start it, and we had the intake manifold with the nice big air gap in it. So don't laugh. I have really bad hearing, and when loud noises come up, it takes me a while to start hearing again. So I have to wear ears because there's no exhaust on this thing at all. So I'm sure it's going to be stupid loud. So if it's too loud, and be warned, you might have to turn the volume down. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to put these things on because I don't really like the loud noise anymore. So keys on. I guess I should pump it. I don't know if it has a choke. Let's just see what happens. Whoa, that was uneventful. I'll try the pedal. So I guess I should have a radiator cap, but that was a little bit more uneventful than I thought, but or thought it was going to be. But it's definitely not it's not running right. It's probably got like 100 vacuum leaks or something going on here, but I don't even know if it's running on all cylinders. It doesn't sound very smooth. It kind of sort of happily started to pick up a little bit when we I won't say happily. It did start to pick up a little bit when I revved it up, but we just chunked the distributor in there, so it's probably 100 miles out of time. I don't even know if I got the firing order right, but I think I'm pretty close. So I'm probably going to get some make it easier to steer stuff, fluid, power steering fluid, and then a radiator cap so that I can figure out what's going on here. Oh, it's not warm yet. I guess it didn't run long enough for that. But and I got to figure out, I guess the transmission, if you heard me say that at all, is must be in the gear or something, because it was showing 10-15 miles an hour on the old speedometer, because I did hook the cable back up. So I probably got to figure out how to get it back out of gear. Or luckily, I guess the transfer case was in the neutral position, so it didn't go through the fan or out the driveway through the neighbor's house or something crazy like that. Because again, Murphy and I, we don't like each other. So I'll bring you back when I get those things, and then maybe we can tune on it a little bit and make it run a little bit more smoother. But for I guess let's call it a first run, because it made blah before, kind of a half blah 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 the first time I ever cranked it off the camera there, but that's the longest it's ever run. And we didn't have instant blow up or anything like that. So anyway, enough rambling. I'll bring you back when we get it where I can run it a little bit longer. So through the magic of YouTube here, I've got the parts we needed. So I'm going to try to put this fancy radiator cap, if I can find the door. Oh, here we go. Sweet, it's got the anti-pressure releasey thing on it. So we'll put that guy on there first. Whoops. My makeshift radiator holder upper thing is not working very well. Destroy the box so that if we need to take it back, we can. That over here, and power steering fluid. So let's put some of that special go fast stuff in there. Yeah, she's empty. Hopefully I didn't cavitate the pump and destroy it somehow, which we probably did. So we'll pour some of that go fast juice in there. I wonder if I should put some clampy things on there. You think? We'll just pour this all in there, because I don't think there's anything in it at all. Let's see if that registers on the stick. You know we want to overfill it. Nope, don't even come up on the stick. So we're going to put some more in there. That's all of it. It's full now. Let's see if it says something on here now. Oh yeah. But by the time we spin it through and do fancy stuff like that, it'll probably need the second one, but I was actually smart this time and got a couple of them. Whereas normally I would just get the one and then have to go back to the store and get another one, because I don't think that far ahead. So we'll put that over there where I'll trip over it later. This guy can sit down here, and I'm going to put a couple of clamps on here and bring you back when I probably fix this blow-upable hose to a real hose. It's just the return, or the supply. I guess it's the return. It's not the non-pressurized one anyway. So I want to fix that up, and then try to get it to put the shifty thing in there and see if I can get it back into neutral, and then we'll turn it on again. I wasn't able to get a belt because, of course, this is this really crazy, funky, weird aftermarket AC. Did get a kind of a number, so maybe I'll have a chance to find one of those. But we'll come back here in a few minutes. So we're back. I forgot I had to mow the lawn earlier today, so it's been a couple of minutes or hours or so, but to you guys it'll probably be like a second or so. Did a couple of things, not sure where I left off, but put some help you out steering stuff in it, and got the cap on. I think I showed you that already. Checked it. It's actually it's got some in it now, so I guess I'm not cavitating anymore. Put a vacuum gauge on it just to see what it's going to do, and got a timing light on it as well, so I'm going to fire it up just to see where the timing is sitting at. It's not running great, so I'm going to crank it back up. Actually going to brave it without the earphones on, so let's see if it cranks. Let it run a little bit, do a couple revs, probably blow your sound out. Well, let's just see what happens. Pretty noisy without a exhaust. 16 pounds, kind of dancing around. It's not real consistent. I'm taking it right off where the breakers go. That's not too good when it's doing that. Obviously you can hear it's not consistent at all, so I'm gonna probably throw a set of plugs in it. I don't think that's gonna help a lot, but I don't remember doing that initially. I did put cap rotors and all that crap on it, but I can't remember if I put plugs in it. That's the cheap option. Maybe we'll get lucky. But with the vacuum dancing around like that, it's probably got a little bit more than spark plugs. With it being like that, I got a compression issue, or it's supposed to be a new motor, but everybody's heard that before. I won't say a new motor as in it's never run before, but it's new where I found some rebuild little stamp things on the side of it. So I don't think it's that old. Supposedly when I bought the thing, it came from the motor came from some other Jeep that was wrecked, because the motor that was in this, well, sorry, this was the motor that was in it, but the actual motor that had been swapped out of it had been blown up or something like that. So the story I got was they changed the engine but never had it running, so I think it came from a junkyard where one had been wrecked or something. I don't know. Anyway, basically I'm on my own trying to figure out what's going on with this. It's not like it's new or who knows what's going to come up with. So anyway, I'm going to do the spark plugs, or I'll probably bring you back when I do all that stuff, or maybe we'll just wrap it up. I think we'll wrap it up right here because I think the wind's blowing. You're probably hearing a bunch of noise in the thing. It's late. I got some other dumb things to do. I got the wiring harness to do on that four-wheeler back there. So I should probably do that because it's been here a while. And walk away from this one for a few minutes and try to kind of like isolate what's going on and think about it. But anyway, thank you for putting up with all the racket and hanging out here. We'll get back into this one probably a little bit sometime during the week. Probably put some spark plugs in it, see what it does. I know it's been I've been a little slow on posting videos, just get into working, and sometimes it's hard for me to actually get into videotaping it. That's how old I am. But thanks for hanging out with me, working on stuff and watching this Wrenching with Rob stuff. So hope everybody's doing all right and surviving with the stuff that's going on nowadays. Just appreciate people watching. Never thought I'd have people watching me do stuff on here. So we'll get back into working a little bit more instead of me talking all the time. So thank you and have a good one. See you.